Hi and welcome to another YouTube video. In today's video, I want to show you this cottagecore farmhouse or farm in general that I've built, and I would love to say that this build was a joy to build because it was in parts, and also I love the outcome, so I would love to say that, but it would not be entirely true because this build was a roller coaster of emotions and really cool things that happened, but also some mishaps and stuff. So while I usually don't like to talk about the things that go wrong with my builds and the entire recording process of said builds, because I don't know how interesting it is, and also I don't know, I kind of want to appear capable. Like, I guess most of us do, want other people to think of us as the capable human beings who know what they're doing. But this time, the whole mess up story was so ingrained into the entire building process that I can't just leave it out. So be prepared for that. So yeah, the whole reason of why I started this build was a mishap already. So basically, this whole build was just a happy little accident, as Bob Ross would say, because I started with a completely different build, which was Sunny Simsy's Shell Challenge, which I made my favorite tiny house for that I've ever built ever in The Sims, and I was so happy with that tiny house. And then I checked the recording, and I had messed up the files. So OBS was still recording in the mobile phone format that I like to record in for shorts, and I didn't change that, so it only recorded that small portion of the screen for that entire building process after I had been so happy with how that microhome came out. And I'm so sorry for telling you the story of a different build while I'm talking about this one, but I promise you it makes sense in a second. Because after that I was kind of frustrated because the recording was messed up of the build beforehand, and then I just wanted to do some landscaping, and I tried doing the landscaping for that tiny house, and I did something really cool with that landscaping that you're going to see in a different build, but it was not really fitting for the tiny house because it was more suburban modern, and I also went kind of whimsy with that tiny house, so it didn't really fit. I didn't like the way that it looked in the end, even though I was really happy with the landscaping on its own and the house on its own, but they just didn't go together, and I was kind of frustrated because yeah, the recording had messed up. And I know now I'm planning to make that tiny house into a stop motion video, because I've since learned how to do that, kind of. I'm not an expert, but I have kind of learned how to do that, so I'm going to do that, so keep your eyes open for that video in the future, hopefully next week. But yeah, so I did that, and I was kind of frustrated, and I was frustrated with the landscaping, and that was kind of weird for me because usually landscaping is by far my favorite point of building a house in The Sims. I'm so obsessed with landscaping. I love to do it, and so I was just in the mood to just shut off my brain and prove to myself that I can still do landscaping, because I was not happy with the one beforehand in the slightest, and so I just started this entire build completely on a whim, without any sort of reference picture, without any sort of plan. I just shut off my brain, and I just let my hands do their thing, and that was a fantastic feeling. So this whole build, it started off on such a high. I was just having a good time. I was proving to myself I still can do landscaping, and I was so happy. First off, I did the layout, and I wasn't really sure about it, and also when I did the elevation of the terrain and stuff, so the terrain manipulation, I also wasn't sure about it, but then I put the plants on top, and I did the landscaping, and I added that little river with the waterfalls and stuff, and that is when I started really feeling this build. I was proud of what I created. I had such a good time. I was feeling great about the whole landscaping stuff. So I was really on a high, And then I went to check OBS again, a little bit scarred from what had happened beforehand, when I realized that I recorded the beginning of this build that I was now very happy with, even though I hadn't planned to build this. So I had recorded the beginning, and then I got sidetracked, and I had to stop the recording, and then I started building again. But when I started building again, I didn't start the recording again, which meant that there was like this huge jump where the entire landscaping around the river was completed. There were like these levels around the walkway, the stairs was completed. Like all of that landscaping was done that I have been so happy with and that I would have loved to show you. And at that point I was like, oh no, this day is cursed. I do not want this day. Like, I don't want to build today anymore, but I was so happy with how it turned out. But at that point I was like, do I just like throw the whole build away that I hadn't planned on building anyways? Do I just like stop doing this like now that I have nothing to show for all of the work that I've done on this build? But I wanted to just like let out that frustration. And one thing that I had like never done before was tweeting when I'm frustrated. I know there are a lot of people who do that and do it in very toxic ways, and I don't intend on ever doing that, because I'm very much against that. But that was basically the first time where I was ever like frustrated with something, and I would just went to Twitter and I put on a screenshot of this build like at the stage that it was on currently, when I realized that mishap, and I posted it on Twitter, and like that just made my entire day so much better, because people on Twitter loved the work in progress picture that I shared. I think it was one of my most liked Twitter posts ever, and it even was retweeted by SimLizzy, who is a wonderful Sims YouTuber. By the way, I definitely recommend you check out SimLizzy, because SimLizzy is one of the Sims YouTubers who inspired me to like, I don't know, start my like channel the way that I did. And so yeah, that really meant a lot to me. And like, she shared my build and she saw it and she liked it apparently, and I was like, oh no, okay, now I'm on a high again. Now I'm motivated to continue this build. Let's just forget about this mishap. Like, I still have 1/3 of the landscaping to do. I can show that off to people and they still can get the gist of what I was going for with the landscaping and what my process was. So let's just forget about the mishap and let's just continue on with this build and like just have a good time. And that was like a high again with this build. And don't worry, didn't went down again. It kind of did later, but like at that point I was just like so fueled with energy, and I don't know, of course, like when you're doing this and you're building the Sims and you're creating videos, or if you're creating art, of course, like primarily you should always do it for yourself and do what you like. But still, it's such a nice feeling when other people like the thing that you're working on, and like your work in progress picture, even though it's like not even finished yet and stuff. So yeah, that was definitely like a huge positive boost for me, and I'm so thankful that I was just like that I've made that impulse decision to post that on Twitter, because it really fueled me and fueled my energy for like the entire next like day when I continued working on this build. And now I really like how it came out. So it all worked out in the end, and yeah, it all really were like happy little accidents, because if I didn't have the accident in the like build beforehand, the Sunny Simsy shell challenge, I would have like never started this build, and now it's like a build that I did that I really love. So like, thank you so much for that happy little accident, like universe or whatever, or like my own brain that messed up. I guess I should thank my brain for that one. but yeah, that's just like, I don't know, that's so cool that all of these accidents led to a build that I really liked. So there's a positive in like all of those things as well, or there can be at least. And yeah, but then I was on a little bit of a low again because I had to do the interior and I was so uninspired for the interior. And so yeah, but then I put it off for a long time, longer than I would have liked to. So sorry that there hasn't been a video earlier this week, but I couldn't get the interior to work or look the way that I wanted to look. But then I decided to just go on and do some of the interior without recording it, because I kind of expected myself to delete it all again. But that, of course, was the moment when it worked and inspiration for the interior hit me, because like at that point I wasn't recording for some reason. And yeah, so I didn't have footage of like the initial like breakthrough moment of the interior again. It's just like, oh my god, the whole like recording this build has been such a mess, but it's also been really like lovely and rewarding for me to build this. So it's really been a roller coaster. But then I had that breakthrough with the interior. Now I really love how the interior looks in the end. And then I finished the interior on stream, which was a bunch of fun, and or almost finished it. And yeah, so that's what you're seeing then. And then I just had to finish some last little bits on the exterior to really like pull it all together. And with that, this build is almost complete. Thank you so much for listening to me describe like the chaotic process, and for also bearing with the like batches of missing footage in the speed build. There's just nothing I could do, but I still love this build and I still wanted to share it with you. And I also wanted to share this story because like not everything goes smoothly, but sometimes when it doesn't go smoothly, the end result is even better. So who knows, maybe that's something you needed to hear today, maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, anyways, I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you liked and enjoyed this video. If you would consider subscribing, you would make me super duper happy, and I hope we'll see each other again and enjoy the tour.